Rob Thompson, Karl Schoening. Halftime.
Halftime here on San Antonio Sports Star. Hope y'all are tuned into our frequencies if you're in your car, ESPN AM 1250 or 94.5 FM. I'm Karl Schoening. He's Rob Thompson. Twitterless Edwin. That's your new name. I hope you don't mind. I've given you a new first name, Twitterless Edwin, back there running the ship. James Pledger taking a Friday nap somewhere around the building.
He's
Rob.
Nose first into the logs. He's doing APD stuff, man.
Oh, hey.
That's why he's got the headband on. If
you're watching us on Facebook Live or YouTube, you can see Pledger zoom out to go off to his nap. As now he's finally there. Also, you can check us out at sasportstar.com. While you're there, enter some of our great contests. We're always having contests rolling around, such as opportunities to win tickets to the Cowboys, whether it's a home game. You guys might get a chance to win every single game. Just keep on applying. We do have a winner for our Texas kickoff. That'll be a fun game at NRG tomorrow. Congratulations to Mark Gonzalez.
Mark Gonzalez, come by and pick me up. I'll be ready about 10.
It's true. I tried to reach out to him to get him on the show just to prove that we did give away the tickets. But, you know, if you are somebody who is always interested in to throw your hat in the ring for something free, something fun, that's where you go, sasportstar.com. But as we mentioned it, tomorrow, Texas Tech versus Houston at NRG. Rob, you are wearing your maroon. You have been marooned out all week. You've been ready for Texas A&M versus Kent State since last February.
Since the North Carolina beating. Yeah, we're in, baby. We are in. It's all in maroon out. We got midnight tonight.
So is it a maroon out? Because
not officially, but you know.
What I was told was that they're going to, at least in the student section, do a replication of the red, white, and blue. Brandon joins us on Facebook Live. You guys can all join us up there. He says, love the show, guys. Thank you for tuning in. That's always the best way to communicate with us, by the way, Facebook or YouTube comments. We're also on Periscope. So if you guys are on your Twitter,
so that's
you want to watch
explain to me or the guys that are technically able to, maneuver, but don't understand so if I see the post on Twitter, I can click on it and that's the Periscope feed. I don't have to go to some place called Periscope, some app.
Correct.
Okay.
Twitter and Periscope worked together for years, but that's slowly coming down as I'll use a technical term here. Twitter is building their own API.
What does that stand for?
Oh, I forget what it stands for, but it's their own built-in live streaming service. Previously, they had been using Periscope, so you had to have a Periscope link to your Twitter. Nowadays, you can just go ahead and
pop on there and listen.
Yeah, I still have not seen what Twitter's going to do, but it should be something where you can just go live from your phone on Twitter, similar to an Instagram and so on and so forth. And yeah, that's basically how you guys should listen to us. If you're maybe on your computer, you want to open up another desktop tab and listen to us on your website as well, or you can stream at sasportstar.com. That also works on your phone. I like to do other things on my phone, so YouTube and sasportstar.com are both really good ways to listen to us. As Danielle says, "Hey, Mr. Halftimer, Oh, Edwin. She's talking to you. Hey, Hoffner. Sorry, I'm just reading it there from the highlights. You're gonna have to crack open that mic and say hello to the people, Edwin."
It was Daniel Reyes, but yeah.
Daniel Reyes. Oh, okay. Daniel. Well, thank you for tuning in.
I'm glad Edwin's got his name up there too. Makes him official.
I'm glad too. What are you looking forward to? We have a full slate of week one weekend games. We had some games last night, but obviously there are just amazing pickings here. We're going to be out at Rue Pub. They have several TVs over there, as I've been informed.
Biggins, we'll be out there all day tomorrow at the Rue Pub. Use your maps. It's out 281, just outside of 1604, up in Stone Oak. At 11 o'clock, the listener draft will begin for our listener fantasy league with the Fantasy Gods. And then at 1 o'clock, we will draft our San Antonio Sports Star team. Our league will gather and we will draft. Football will be on. Good food coming out of the kitchen. Cold beer coming out of the tap. And any kind of drink you want mixed. Rue Pub always takes care of us. This is not so much an official broadcast party or anything. It's just all gathering at a bar we love. But it's going to be a good day on Saturday. If you have some time, come hang out with us. We're looking forward to a full day of football, fantasy, and college. Aggie wins. Longhorn wins. It's going to be a good evening. I'll tell you what. I unfortunately was out last night. Did not get a chance to see a lot of the football games. Caught all the highlights. But I wish I'd have been sitting in on that Ohio State Minnesota game.
Mm-hmm.
That Minnesota I saw had the lead at halftime. Probably put a scare in a lot of Ohio State fan. Got to see you see the kid from Minnesota snap his Achilles in slow motion?
I did. I don't like saying that. We don't like speculating, but yeah, that did not look good.
No, it's no speculation. That Achilles blew up. It rolled up like a window shade, and his toes basically touched his shin. Man, that was awful.
There have been more Achilles tears in the last decade than my entire life before that.
It's a good point. And we have on the Blitz on Tuesdays the good docs over at TSAOG, the Sports Institute over there. There are orthopedists to the their team physicians for all over the country. And we've talked a lot about that, how, the last remaining frontier for injuries that have been just about impossible to come back from was the Achilles tendon. 30 years ago, you blew your knee out. That was basically your career. But science has caught up, and you can rehab and come back even stronger if given the time and the effort, if you want to put in for your torn ACL or MCL, whatever it might be. But the Achilles was the death sentence. I mean, that was it. And there have been steps to improve the rehab from the Achilles, but I think that is the last frontier of the orthopedists being able to fix you and get you back in the game. That's the last little piece that they really can't quite or haven't quite figured out how to redo, refix, and get you back better and faster than you were before.
Modern medicine has come such a long way, though. It is really impressive, and we have to thank those athletes that came before this generation right now that have almost been the guinea pigs of
I'll tell you what
surgeries.
guinea pig is. I tore my ACL in 1983, and the process back then was we took a cadaver. I had a cadaver ACL tendon put into my knee. I think that's long past. I don't think they're doing that anymore.
Yeah, there's new practices. I don't know what they're doing, but I do know, I think it's Dr. Signs with the San Antonio Spurs is like the best ACL doctor in the world. So they definitely cover their bases with their ligaments in San Antonio with the Spurs. Now, I know you're a big Kent State versus Texas A&M guy. That's the one that you're going to watch.
Golden Flash fan.
We're going to be talking a lot about it at 1:13 with Andrew Monaco. He'll be joining us right here on Halftime, the voice of your fighting Texas Aggies. Replaced the great Dave South at the end of his legendary career. Some of y'all in San Antonio will remember him from the San Antonio Spurs broadcast. We'll really dive into the Aggie matchup, but
we're your home for the fighting Texas Aggies, by the way, right here in this cluster. Catch the game. We broadcast it on KTSA, 55 on the AM, 107.1 on the FM, because honestly, they got a little bit more broadcast stick. It goes a little bit further. And if you want Aggie fan, we've had them forever. We're your home in that you'll have the Jimbo Fisher Show. Andrew Monaco is a regular here. Good friend of the station, a good friend of San Antonio. Catch him on the Blitz on the regular. Aggie fans, we got you covered. Jimbo Fisher's first show will be broadcast next Wednesday to keep you going all week. So, we got him coming, and Andrew will be here today, and I know he's beside himself. It is almost here.
There is nothing quite like the break between seasons for play-by-play broadcasters. I've already talked to my dad. He is itching more than usual this year for the Spurs season to start, when that was what I did primarily. Summers were drags. Sure, you're kind of off. You don't have much else to do. I had to find a little extra work here and there with tournaments and such, so I didn't quite have the same off season as these guys, but you'll be able to hear it in Andrew's voice again coming up at 1:13. At 12:30, we will be talking with Keff Ciardello from the Austin American-Statesman. He'll be breaking down Texas State versus Baylor. That'll be your closest game for Division I football. If you want to catch a game in person and you're in San Antonio, just make that short drive up to San Marcos Bobcat Stadium. As I understand, they will have walk-up tickets available, but it's always safe if you're going to be making plans to buy ahead of time.
I wonder how much green is going to be in that stadium.
I'm going to guess a lot.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
All the local fan get a chance without having to drive all the way up and deal with that horrible traffic in Waco. For the love of Pete and all that is holy, Fix 35 in the middle of downtown Waco. What a cluster that area is.
That is an area that, as long as I have been alive, has not been finished. And you can see that they've done work on it, but it's like as soon as they're done, they got to get right back to where they started and improve it from there and further down. But there's a lot of changes going on with Baylor and Texas State. Keff will keep us updated. Charlie Brewer actually got a chance to play last night for Utah, and he was a transfer from Baylor, and Utah in the top 25 rankings. So that's a tough loss for Baylor. We'll talk a little bit about both teams there as Jake Spavital, former offensive coordinator or quarterbacks coach at Texas A&M. He finally made it up to the big leagues. Third year at Texas State. First year was obviously his first year. He inherited a 3-win team from Everett Withers. Second year, last year, COVID year, only team in the country to play all 12 games.
Right.
They even got a couple fill-ins to make sure that they got that off. So they are the best 2-10 team in the country because they're the only 2-10 team in the country.
When we look back on what COVID did to a lot of programs, and it decimated college sports, Spavital, through all the work that they had to go through, that's going to pay dividends this year. They're the only team I know of got 12 games in last year. So they did get a season worth of effort, and they got the free COVID year for their seniors to hang around for another year. That's going to pay dividends. And I have a feeling, while I don't think they can beat Baylor, it's going to be a good football game into the fourth quarter.
They brought in half the transfer portal. We'll have Keff give you the official numbers, but there's a lot of guys that last year, if they were not really productive, were gone, and they brought in new guys. So I think they have like 17 new starters on that Texas State roster. We'll get to talking with Keff about that. And the attacking national champions, not the defending national champions. Coach Keeler doesn't like that. The attacking national champions, Sam Houston State, they won last night 44-16 against Northern Arizona. We'll be joined by Rob Hipp, the radio play-by-play broadcaster for Sam Houston State, at 1:35. He'll be on right after Andrew Monaco. So if you are a Texas football fan, not the University of Texas, I'm talking to the great state of Texas football fan, today is your show.
Yes, sir.
So that means that we just got to start off with one brief topic here, Louisiana versus Texas. I want to get into this so we don't get lost in all the other games throughout the rest of the week, or the weekend, I should say. Louisiana versus Texas. This is the beginning of the Steve Sarkisian era, the beginning of the completed bowl DKR era. It looks amazing. Their new Jumbotron, as if the last Jumbotron wasn't big enough. And you know what? That's Texas A&M's fault, because
it's the arms race, man.
When Texas A&M redid Kyle Field, I don't know if you know this, Rob, but I'm sure you did. There were 101,000 seats at DKR.
We had to have a few more.
So the official capacity at Texas A&M, even though they've filled it up past this, was 102,000.
Yep.
That's just petty.
No, that's just more tickets. That's just more. But you're right. It is the arms race. We have to say bigger, better, faster, stronger. So yeah, it's petty, but it's fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun when they do it's not keeping up with the Joneses. Those are the Joneses, Texas and Texas A&M.
And as an Aggie, it's hard for me to compliment anything that has burnt orange on it or goes on in Austin. But that new stadium setup, which is 2 years in the making, is fabulous. That we know that the field, Jamail Field, Macomb Stadium, whatever we want, DKR, everything that rolls into it is a palace. It always has been. But now the experience both in pre and post game, extraordinary. Great job. That's the future of college sports. That's why Texas has got the biggest athletic budget in the country.
Yeah, Chris Del Conte, he's really done a good job recovering from that Steve Patterson era where they basically fired everybody that was there, and that caused a lot of turmoil with the University of Texas. And now they're coming into new coaches for both football and basketball. So this is a big year for Longhorn athletics. It might not be a great year, but it's a big year. And soon enough, they'll be getting that new Moody Center. That's going to be cool. But they should not just be overlooking the University of Louisiana, the Ragin' Cajuns. They're a top 25 team, usually a top Sun Belt team. Coastal Carolina's come in and really made a stamp on the Sun Belt. But Louisiana Lafayette, they always have a really good offensive line, which leads to a good, balanced offense. Don't overlook the Ragin' Cajuns. I know the Longhorns are probably still going to be favored to win, but I would take the points. I don't know what the spread is at the moment.
8.5 as we sit right now.
Ooh, I could see it being 5.
I'll tell you.
I could see it being around there.
If I'm Texas fan, 8.5 is a little worrisome because we always fall back on Vegas knows. Vegas knows. I don't know how they know, but they always know. The numbers always bear it out. Now, I do expect Texas to hang 35 points. I don't think that the ooh la la, or now they're Louisiana, has the wherewithal to slow Texas down. I think Bijan will probably have a fine day. And what's the new quarterback's name?
Hudson Card.
I like that name.
Although
we got a
Casey
Haynes
Thompson,
and a Hudson.
Although, according to Sark, Casey Thompson is supposed to still get quarterback reps. And I would almost take that as a slap in the face if I were Louisiana. It's like, oh, you're going to try and get 2 quarterbacks in? You think that our defense is just going to allow that? You're going to have somebody try and find a rhythm, then you're going to have somebody else try and find a rhyom? Louisiana has some legitimate fuel that they could use.
Let me tell you, as an Aggie, there have been several times where ooh la la jumped up and got they put out NFL quality. They put out NFL players every year. Their offense is going to be stellar. It's a great first game. Now, if you lose, it'll look worse than it is because Lafayette, they're not bad. It's not an embarrassment to lose to a team of that quality, but the country will lose their minds if they see Texas stumble out of the block, just like we saw against Maryland, and that turned out to be not as bad as it appeared because Maryland had a good football team. We just didn't know it that first game of the year. I don't think that's going to happen, and I think Texas fans are going to be nervous because I think that defense probably give up 24, 27 points, but the Texas offense is going to score 35.
And that's pretty much how I expect it to go, but I was a little surprised to see Sark say they're going to try and play both quarterbacks and essentially have that quarterback competition open during a game.
How likely do you think that is?
Sark seems arrogant enough to try it out. I think he finds himself to be, and you have to be if you're a coach of that level, he sees himself as a mastermind that also wants to see what he really has with these 2 guys that he inherits from the Tom Herman era. And that's what everybody's going to be looking at, the new quarterback. Because Sam Ellinger, a 4-year starter, probably should have stuck around for his 5th if I were him, just because he was Mr. Longhorn.
Mm-hmm.
But he moved on. Yeah, he got a gig. He's at the Colts right now. He's out 6 to 8 weeks, but
they kept him. They put him on IR. He will be a Colt this year.
He could have been the starting quarterback week 1 if things had aligned a little better for him and Wentz was out a little longer with his COVID scare. But back to the Longhorns, without Sam Ellinger, they're moving on from the Sam Ellinger era as well as the Tom Herman era. They're still ranked 21st, and a lot of that's name brand, Rob. I get Bijan Robinson, a sophomore, is
Heisman candidate.
He's expected to be a Heisman candidate by the end of the year, but it's really it wouldn't surprise me. Week 1 of all weeks is when the Appalachian State can defeat a Michigan, right? And the Texas State could maybe beat a Baylor. We'll talk to Keff Ciardello about that at 12:30. Kent State is not going to beat a Texas A&M. That's I know. I should cause a little Aggie anxiety right there.
Don't say that.
Yeah, but I would imagine not. But there are certain teams that maybe are on upset watch. I saw on SVP that he wasn't going to take UTSA to win, but he is taking the points. So when UTSA goes up to Illinois this Saturday, or I guess they're on their way up there right now, they better be ready to have a hungry team that wants to have a bounce back year under their second-year coach, Jeff Traylor. So this is the weekend, and you've brought it up on R&R in the morning. So many great matchups. But I always want to see an upset. Somewhere there's going to be a good upset.
Don't we need that upset? And UTSA, watch that. Watch it really closely. The good news is they're going to be good enough to make it competitive. What my fear is that UTSA wins the game. I have to take this 1,000-yard stare view of the UTSA football program. Jeff Traylor beats Illinois in week 1. On week 13 of this year, lots of high D1 athletic directors, lots of alumni from other schools are going to start talking about Jeff Traylor at UTSA is going to be our next coach, because this is the opportunity for UTSA to truly make a national splash. They did it a couple years ago when Frank Wilson was here and they beat Baylor. But that was a Baylor team that was by every measure in terrible straits. Everybody knew it, but it was still a name school losing to a directional or initial school. Jeff Traylor can manage this against a Big Ten team. The country will be watching. And My fear is they're going to come knocking on Coach Traylor's door because he is that good.
You got to probably have a 10-win season, I would imagine. Although I think Tom Herman was able to pull it off without a 10-win season.
Now,
but yeah.
I think he made his bones about winning last year. I think he won last year he was beating 4-star teams with 3-star talent. That's what ADs are looking at. Your win-loss record, yeah, we want to see you win, but what are you doing with the talent that you've got? And he took lesser or average talent against the AAC and made the second leading rusher in the country, who would have been the number one rusher in the country, and Sincere McCormick, but he took a game off, not because he was injured, because for the birth of his baby girl. So he missed a weekend, and he could have been the leading rusher in the country. He did it with 4 different quarterbacks last year.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Traylor's got a name out there, and you get that one upset. That's where you get your name started getting on that short list of coaches when the imminent firings that are going to happen. He's going to be mentioned. Don't go anywhere, Jeff. Build a program here, man. Stay forever. Be Frank Beamer over at Virginia Tech, who found a place and stayed there for 25 years. Be that guy.
The big difference between UTSA and other initial schools, as you call them, is that San Antonio is a legitimate major market city.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you're talking UT Pan American or UTEP. There is a legitimate size to San Antonio that should be semi-threatening to other schools that are not Power 5 that brings in talent. We just saw yesterday a 5-star combo guard had UTSA in their top 4, and that doesn't happen if UTSA isn't in San Antonio.
I completely agree, but I do think that while we know the talent is here, while we know that the guys that are coming from this region that coaches circled, he calls it the pyramid of power, the triangle of truth. I don't know what it is, but the 2-1-0. He recruits it. We know there's talent. We know the best guys on that team are from around here. The rest of the country, they see 4 initials. They don't even know what that means. And especially when you hear a big school with a little school or a city's name attached to it, it just immediately gives you the connotation of a commuter school.
2-1-0 triangle of toughness.
Triangle. I like the pyramid of power, or the triangle of, I don't know.
But yeah, it'll be a good time. I can't wait.
We are going to talk about the states only, or talk with the states only national champion, the play-by-play guy for Sam Houston State. Rob Hipp's going to be here at 12:30. I'm looking forward to the attack for a return to the national title and the imminent, I guess, battle between Incarnate Word and Sam Houston State yet again this year.
Yeah, and they bring back almost everybody at Sam Houston State. Let's catch up on some comments from Facebook and YouTube. Siberian sneaks the plug. Western Michigan can beat tomorrow. Caleb Elby is no joke, so okay, that's something to keep an eye out on.
Caleb who? Elby?
Elby is.
All right, I'll watch him.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye out there. So Western Michigan, that's a potential upset, as UMass might be going down. I take that's UM, right? UMass.
I don't know.
Yeah, so YouTube here, there's so many games. That's the crazy thing about college sports, is you don't know exactly who Western Michigan might be playing. On YouTube, we have 10Mac07 saying Sunbelt always has at least one upset against Big 12. I can believe that. So maybe it's Louisiana beating Texas. Maybe it's Texas State beating Baylor.
U of M, Missouri. They're fighting.
Oh, Missouri.
There we go.
There you go. Oh, that would be an interesting one. Okay.
Tomorrow, 3:00.
B says, ready to see some Bobcats, ready to see tomorrow's Bobcats game, eat them up. So we have a lot of Bobcats here because Keff has already plugged it. He'll be coming up at 12:30, and it is University of Michigan. Thank you, Siberian Sneaks, for, if I'm not mistaken, that's his team, actually. So he's putting his own team on upset watch. So yeah, that's how it goes. And yeah, Vince Trevino joins us, says howdy. And so once again, we always love keeping up with our Facebook, YouTube, and now Periscope comments. You can leave a comment over Periscope, and we will see it pop up on our StreamYard feed.
We get back. We got a lot to talk about. Let's get you all caught up. Everybody needs to know the headlines. It's been a bit. Let's get all the info you need. Karl's
Countdown.
All righty, headline 2. This one comes from Jeff Garcia of Spurs Zone. Josh Primo joins Nike, according to him. So that's a good get for the 12th overall pick for the San Antonio Spurs. He'll be a Nike athlete.
Get a Nike athlete, get a little shoes. He came from a Nike school there in Alabama, and that isn't always a precursor to where they're going to sign. I hope he got a good deal, a little squalor and some free shoes.
Headline 1, Adrian Wojnarowski tweeted this one earlier right after R&R in the morning. Memphis has agreed to a trade forward Juanacho Hernan-Gomez to Boston for guards Chris Dunn and Carson Edwards and a 2026 second-round pick swap. And Chris Dunn, baller defensively. Carson Edwards, baller offensively. Solid sort of, mix and match there for Memphis to have behind Ja Morant.
Memphis has been as busy as any team in the NBA during this offseason. How many trades have they made? It's been at least 2, maybe 3.
It feels like 3 or 4 because they had the Patrick Beverley deal where they acquired Beverley for Eric Bledsoe. They were involved in the Eric Bledsoe trade. They picked him up and then they flipped him, and they sent Patrick Beverley to Memphis. They waived Rajon Rondo. Now they're making this trade. So, yeah, Memphis, no home run blockbuster deals, but obviously small deals to sort of get them over the play-in hump, if you will.
They've got their dudes. They got Ja. They got Jaren. They got a big. They're in pretty good shape. I like the way that Memphis is moving, and there's a lot of San Antonio Spur influence on that program. So you got the feeling they're moving in the right direction. Unfortunately, we have to play them over and over.
And headline 0, New York Yankees announcer John Sterling pulled from a flooding car by fellow broadcaster as the Spanish radio play-by-play guy Ricky Ricardo helped Sterling out of the jam, as that's a sad situation up in the Northeast with all the flooding, but it's good that it didn't get sadder with the losing of a legendary broadcaster like John Sterling.
Sterling, he's over 80, right?
He's up there in age, yeah.
He's been around a long time. The whole story coming out of New York City, all those people that drowned in their basement apartments, that is just horrifying. And another thing we got to comment on, so the New York Yankees Spanish play-by-play is named Ricky Ricardo?
That's right.
Fake, right?
You got some explaining to do.
Lucy, you got some explaining to do.
You woke up from your nap to make that joke?
You find humor where you can. Real quickly, you talked about that Memphis trade, and we didn't hit on Carson Edwards. Carson Edwards came out of Purdue, but he's out of Houston, Atascocita.
Atascocita.
Yeah, Atascocita. Because the reason I say Atascocita, because the south of us, there is a county known as Atascosa. That's what we say. We don't say Astacosa like they call it. They pronounce it Atascocita. Atascosa. I don't know where the pronunciations come from, but he's a great basketball player. He's going to be a great backup for Ja Morant.
That'll be fun. And I've heard people say that Chris Dunn, while he's not going to make an all-defensive team, has that kind of defensive talent.
He's going to be in the league 20 years and only play defense and hit big shots.
There you go.
Good move all the way around. We got you all caught up. Let's learn a little bit about the game tomorrow.
Yeah, we got some fun ones tomorrow, but the closest one to San Antonio is Texas State versus Baylor. So if you want to see some real live football, Big 12 versus Sun Belt, Keff Ciardello, the beat writer for Texas State for the Austin American-Statesman, joins us on halftime here. This is San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Emotion. There are few places in the broadcast universe where emotion is so sweet.
The ground ball toward the middle, kind of Falefa to his left. He's got it. He spins. He throws. He got him. The ball game's over. Joey swings and launches one high in the air, deep center field. This one's on its way. That ball is history. This game is tied.
This is San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Can you feel it?
Have you started developing COVID-19 symptoms, or have you tested positive within the last 5 days? Local doctors are now enrolling volunteers for a COVID-19 clinical study. The study is for those who have had a positive COVID-19 test within the last 5 days and have health conditions putting them at increased risk for severe illness. Every person who volunteers for a clinical trial plays a powerful role. Go to covidpillstudy.com to learn about the clinical research process. You can be part of developing a potential COVID-19 oral treatment that may bring hope for moving beyond COVID-19. Participants will receive all study-related care and either a placebo or an investigational drug for COVID-19. If you are 18 years of age or older, have COVID-19 symptoms, or tested positive for COVID-19 within the last 5 days, go to covidpillstudy.com and answer a few simple questions to see if you may qualify for this study. Please consider participating in this COVID-19 oral treatment study by visiting covidpillstudy.com. Volunteer today at covidpillstudy.com.
Central Builders Incorporated is a family-owned, award-winning general contractor headquartered in San Antonio. Since 1989, CBI has completed over $1 billion in construction projects, including large-scale remodeling, expansions, and ground-up construction. The award-winning CBI has also been recognized by the San Antonio Business Journal as one of the best places to work for the past 4 years, and Central Builders is hiring. Learn more at centralbuilders.net. That's centralbuilders.net.
Howdy, San Antonio. Chip Ingram from the Roop Hub and the Angry Elephant, inviting you to come out and enjoy patio season. We have newly remodeled patios, garage doors, and everything else you need to enjoy this great South Texas weather. As always, ice cold beer and specialty drinks. Happy hours daily from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And our kitchen is open from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. See you soon at the Roop Hub and the Angry Elephant at 281 and Redland Road.
I'm Serena Williams. You watch me live on TV. So why am I in a British drama you watch on demand?
Fancy a dance, milady?
Sure. It's because DirecTV Stream brings the best of live TV and on demand together.
Oh, you're quite the dancer.
Mr. Jeffries, you're making me blush.
Oh.
Introducing DirecTV Stream, the best of live TV and on demand with no annual contract. Get your TV together at directv.com.
Requires high-speed internet and compatible device. Content varies by package and location. Restrictions apply.
O'Reilly. Ready for an oil change? Visit the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts to get everything you need. Right now, get 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for just $28.95 and earn double O rewards points with your purchase. Protect your engine against sludge and wear with Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil. On sale now at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The San Antonio Sports Stars taking halftime on the road, headed to Twin Peaks this Thursday, September the 9th. We'll be covering the things Thursday night football and prepping you for the Cowboys and Buccaneers. And you have a chance to win Pit Bull tickets, Natural Bridge Caverns tickets, and some Sports Star swag. So join us Thursday for lunch, noon to 2 at Twin Peaks on De Zavala and I-10. That's Thursday, September 9th from noon to 2 at Twin Peaks on De Zavala and I-10 with the Sports Star and ESPN San Antonio.
Distracted driving doesn't give second chances. To see her first steps, see him scoring the winning touchdown, marrying the one you love, or celebrating 25 years of joy.
I'm Thomas J. Henry. Today, distracted driving is the #1 cause of catastrophic auto collisions and the end of life's dreams. It's best to put the phone down until you arrive or pull off the road safely.
San Antonio, Texas.
Rob Thompson, Karl Schoening. Halftime.
It's halftime. Thank you for spending your midday break with us here on San Antonio Sports Star. I'm Karl Schoening. He's Rob Hipp. Edwin back there making sure we sound good.
I'm Rob Hipp.
Did I say you're Rob Hipp? I'm sorry. Rob Hipp.
I like Rob Hipp. He's a talented guy. I'd like to be Rob Hipp.
And Rob Hipp is a good buddy of mine. So whenever I've been mentioning Rob in my life, I've had to explain whether it was Rob Thompson or Rob Hipp. He's Rob Thompson. Rob Hipp will be joining us later in the show after Andrew Monaco tells us about the Aggies. Rob Hipp will tell us about Sam Houston State. Telling us right now on the Kielbasa Bacon phone lines about Texas State and Baylor is Keff Ciardello. Keff, the Austin American Statesman beat writer, joins the show. A good buddy of mine. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Karl, I'm doing great. It's funny, you've actually had to explain the difference in the Robs to me, Rob Hipp and Rob Thompson. So
Rob Hipp's younger, better looking, more talented. I'm the other guy. I'm the before picture before we get to the after, Kev.
Give yourself more credit, man. I don't believe
I just did. That was the credit I could give myself.
You know, he has a beard as well, so it probably isn't too far off from before and after picture.
So we're all lazy.
Yeah, exactly. And Keff has a beard. Kev also has long hair, but yeah, that he pulls it off. I couldn't, and he's begged me to grow out my hair once or twice, but that's another topic. So, Kev, I know you have been itching for college football to get rolling. You're one of the biggest college football fanatics, and you have a podcast for Texas State called Win Now or Get bent. And that's not directed at Jake Spavital. In fact, he brings you into the podcast as your intro every show. You love Spav, but there is a sense among Texas State fans that they need to win now or get bent. And can you start off by why you chose that to be your podcast title?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's for the mindset of the fans. I mean, it's been 6 years, 15 wins over the last 6 years for this team. They're downtrodden. And it's really just to kind of get the morale up. It's like, you know what? There's a new regime. The old athletic director that a lot of people place a lot of blame on, Dr. Larry Tice, he's out. There's a new guy, Don Coryell, in there. A lot of people are excited about him. Seems like he's taking things really seriously. Jake Spavital has come in and he's infused this team with so many transfers. I mean, 21 transfers in the offseason alone, 50 in the time since he's been here total on this roster. Around 39 to 40 of those are scholarship, but 50 total transfers he's been able to bring into this on this roster. 85% overhaul of the whole roster since he's gotten here. So, I mean, it seems like this was a ploy, a strategy to win now. Bring in all these guys and start getting these W's now. And so, I mean, if anything, it was inspired by them.
Keff Ciardello, absolutely, man. Let's talk about the team that Spavitel's put together, Keff. We know Spavital he made his bones as a quarterback whisperer, one of the better offensive minds in all of college football. So as he chased that portal, what was the effort to improve immediately? I mean, where was the process point? Was it on the offensive side of the ball, more points, or was there just a need to go get some defensive dudes to slow them down?
Well, I mean, right off the bat, you said it, quarterback whisperer, that his first move was going to get Brady McBride. People forget a few years back, he transferred in from Memphis. He actually had to sit out the 2019 season because there were still those transfer bylaws. So, I mean, yeah, he went right after the quarterback. And he slowly built it up offensively. They went after a lot of receivers. Marcel Barbie, who had 10 touchdowns last year, he was a transfer from Iowa Western. He's another guy who's back this season. And they built up the offense, and they increased how many points they scored last year. They went from 18.4 to 27.2. A moderate jump, but they're expected to jump a little bit more. But then this offseason, they went hard on defense specifically, but then also both of the lines, defensive line and then offensive line. They brought in 5 new guys on the offensive line. They're building this thing they like to call the Canadian Wall, where they brought in 3 offensive line transfers from Canada. 2 of them are starters, Liam Dobson at right tackle and Kyle Hergel at right guard. So you'll see them kind of on that right side of the line. And even there at center, Charles Fletcher, North Carolina State transfer. So that's 3 of the 5 starters are brand new guys who just transferred in. Defensively, it was really a focus on defensive backs. Spavital was saying a lot in fall camp, and so was Coach Dewhurst, defensive back coach, that they were playing guys last year that are on scout team now. Against BYU, they were just so short on defensive backs. They went out and they got 6 defensive back transfers, 2 brand new corners. A lot of people know the name Jerron Morris at Texas State. He's got a lot of accolades. He's an all Sun Belt team. He's actually now second string on Texas State with all these transfers at corner. So that's how deep they are. I mean, their other starting corner from last year is third string, Cordell Rogers. And it's not a knock on either of those guys. It's really just how deep they got and the talent they infused this team with. It's pretty extraordinary, especially in defensive backfield and on both the lines. That's where you really see when I say the 21 transfers this year, that's where you see most of those numbers.
Keff Ciardello joins us here on the Kielbasa Bacon phone lines. He is the beat writer for the Austin American-Statesman in their Texas State coverage. Keff, it's funny to kind of take this into a broader conversation. That transfer portal really has been a blessing because the previous regime, Everett Withers, he thought that the best way to go, probably at the time still was the best way to go, was to just get your high school guys and develop them. Meanwhile, Spav is getting a lot of these guys that have been looked at by Power 5 schools, attended Power 5 schools, and then the broader spectrum of it. This is something that is a gift to these group of 5 schools to try and get those talented guys that maybe were a little impatient or it didn't work out at their last stop.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Carl. It's a complete 180 from the Withers regime. In fact, I've talked to former coaches with Withers that were on his staff when they watched what Spavital is doing with the transfers, and they said Withers had a rule where we were not allowed to get anybody but high school recruits. And so now you turn to it in Spavital, and they only got 2 high school recruits out of a 23-man class.
You know,
it's a total shift in talent fusion.
It's interesting because, coming up before the transfer portal, when you saw schools and new coaches that dove into the transfer portal, that dove into the junior college pool, that did everything they needed to do to get talent in, but they didn't, support the pipeline that is high school sports. Is that going to be the detriment to Spavital in the long run? I mean, once you get addicted to the transfer portal, it's very difficult to get off of.
Absolutely, and it's actually a really great point, because that is probably the negative of this, is that you are isolating yourself from these high school coaches, from those relationships that you build that you're going to need down the road. And when Spavital talks about his strategy, he'll point to Sonny Dykes and what he did at SMU, and how when Sonny Dykes first got there, this is what he did. He went out and got a bunch of transfers, infused the team with all that talent, and then they got the wins, and those wins were able to bring in other recruits. The high school recruits that they were really targeting the talent that they want to get, because they feel right now at this time, with how down the program has been, they can't get the high school recruits that they want. He said that at one point they had 6 high school commits that all decommitted and went to bigger schools. He didn't specify which players, but that's what he was just saying in fall camp in a press conference not too long ago.
Interesting.
So they were trying, with some of these guys, but they don't feel like it's up to par with the guys that they want right now.
Keff Ciardello joins us here on Halftime. He is the beat writer for the Austin American-Statesman for Texas State, and you can follow him on Twitter at Keff_C. It's Jeff with a K, basically. Like, I'm Karl with a K. He's Keff with a K. It's spelled like Jeff, Keff. And he's known for Keff Bomb. So he's one of the few people that I have notifications on to make sure I get all my Texas State news as fresh as possible. But, Keff, on the other side, Baylor is coming off of a 2-7 season. Their starting quarterback, Charlie Brewer, transferred away to Utah. And you on your podcast, Win Now or Get Bent, actually made a bold prediction that Texas State could pull off an upset here.
I really think so. And, I was listening to you guys before I jumped on, and you were talking about how this weekend is ripe for an upset. And he talked about UTSA and how they beat Baylor a few years back, and I'm thinking the same thing could happen for the Bobcats tomorrow. Mainly because Baylor, like you said, their quarterback Charlie Brewer, he went to Utah. They have a guy now, Jerry Bohannon. He's a great quarterback, Elite 11 quarterback out of high school, but he's a running quarterback, and they're going to run that ball a lot. You're not going to see them air it out. Dave Aranda said that in his press conference. Baylor's head coach in their press conference this week. If they have one thing going for them, is they're returning a lot of guys on defense, 10 starters, and that 11th starter that isn't returning is an LSU transfer nose tackle. His name's Apu. He's a big guy, 6'4", 350 pounds. So they're going to have some trouble with that. But, Texas State, as I was saying, it's a whole new team. And people are discounting that. They see the 2 wins last year, but 5 of those games were by 10 points or less, including 3 of them came down to the wire. Boston College really did, and that UTSA game in triple overtime. I mean, there were times where they played much better than that 2-win season last year. And a lot of those players are back, plus a lot more talent. They have consistency at quarterback. Brady McBride, first time they've had the same starting quarterback on opening day since 2016 with Tyler Jones. So it's a different feel. Spavital's third year, second year actually calling the plays, because his first year he didn't. Last year he did call the plays, and he's calling them again. Feel like he's in a good rhythm. He's a young coach, 35 years old, and so I think he really needed to take some time, get his legs underneath him. And I think this is the season they're gonna do some things. I have them beating Baylor. That might not happen. Even if that doesn't happen, I still think this is a 6-win team that can go bowling for the first time ever.
That would be huge. Keff Ciardello joining us here with the Austin American-Statesman right here on Halftime. As we look forward to the season and the future of this program, last year, Texas State, as we talked about earlier, was the only team to play 12 games. They played a full season. The only 2 wins came out of it, but they were close. Now we've got a brand new athletic director coming in and taking over in Coryell. Is there going to be a future where we see more of those big Power 5 schools come to San Marcos?
That's what they're hoping for. And this is the second time they're getting a Big 12 team to come to San Marcos. Last time was 2012 with Tech, and they did the same thing they did with Baylor, a three-game series 1 game San Marcos, 2 games in Waco, or 2 games in Lubbock like it was back then. And I think that's something they're going to have to do going forward in order to get these teams coming down here. But they definitely want that, because every time a big school comes to San Marcos, it's a sellout. I mean, last time I checked, it's been a couple days, but they were getting pretty close to selling out. They're expecting some walk-ups, so that should be a sellout for Texas State on Saturday.
Huge.
They definitely want that. They definitely want to play upper tier teams, P5 teams.
Well, he's Keff Ciardello. And one last question before we let you go, Keff, and you'll like this, Mr. Aggie, sitting across from me, Rob Thompson. I have dubbed Brady McBride Brady Bobcat football because he has some shades of Johnny Manziel in him. Can you confirm or deny that?
I'll confirm it. I'll confirm it, but tentatively, and I'll explain why. He definitely has the run and gun style. Plays a little east to west when he's behind the bucket looking for the open guy. He wears number 2 just like Johnny. But every time you bring this up to Spavital or any of those coaches, especially Spavital, who coached Johnny Manziel as his quarterback's coach in 2013, they're like, there's different things. It's not a fair comparison. It's an easy comparison, but there are certain things that they just do a little differently. They don't think that he's not as much of a gunslinger, despite running around as Manziel was. He can be a little more poised. He'll run out of the pocket. He'll stop, set his feet. But yeah, of course there's similarities, and with Spavital there, it's how can you not make that comparison?
Baylor coming to San Marcos tomorrow. You're going to need to go buy yourself a program, because the team looks completely different. New names, new numbers on that Texas State. Let's hope it's going to be a great win. Thanks for stopping by, Keff.
Yeah, thanks, Keff. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Karl, and thanks, Twitterless Edwin. Appreciate y'all.
You got that nickname might stick.
Until you get a Twitter, Edwin.
Not going to happen. Now we've painted him into a corner. He has to be Twitterless.
Yeah, that was Keff Ciardello from the Austin American Statesman breaking down tomorrow's Texas State versus Baylor matchup. Once more, that is the closest Division I football game to San Antonio. So if you don't want to drive all the way up to Austin, where I'm going to assume that's not a sellout despite it being a brand new stadium. They have like well over 100,000 seats over there, but still Texas State, that'll be a fun one over there.
Can I give you a hot take, a bold prediction?
Go ahead.
I have a feeling that both UTSA and Texas State are not only going to have winning records, but be competing for something really important in the next 2 to 3 years. And when you throw that in with the growth of the Incarnate Word program and Coach Eric Morris, which went down in a nail-biter last night against a traditional powerhouse in Youngstown State, a school that made it into the playoffs. We've got 3 schools within a proximity of about 40 miles of each other that are on the upward tick, that can only benefit and will only help our local high school schoolboy programs, as those are where these guys come from. I think we're on the beginnings of something quite special down here in Central South Texas.
It's a great time because I think it may be, and I know you're not a big fan of this, maybe, but Mac Brown sort of really elevated the play in Central Texas, in this general area, because when he brought something to Texas, the national championship in 2005, that inspired a generation to be ready to get some college scholarships. And that's sometimes they don't always stay in Texas, but like Garrett Wilson for the Ohio State University, I'm sure that was not a fun one for Longhorn fans to see a Lake Travis kid leave. But
Grant Ewers and that kid.
Yeah, exactly. You got to keep those Texans in Texas, but that's how it goes. I know you have a take on that about how they got to pay for their high school.
If you leave and get paid as a pro, you owe us the cost of your high school education.
We're up against it, but we are your home for the Dallas Cowboys. And if you want a chance to win tickets to every Dallas Cowboys home game this season, simply go to sasportstar.com, register to win. That's where you should be watching us here on Halftime. We're also on YouTube and Facebook. In fact, a Facebook Live comment comes in from Tony saying, "I'm heterosexual, but Rob Thompson is attractive to me. Got that Sean Connery hair and mysterious look."
Man, you're going to have to buy a better device because you're not seeing clearly.
When we get back, we got you some Cowboys headlines. Talk about their linebacking core here as we wrap up the first half of Halftime on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
6 days until the Dallas Cowboys kick off the NFL season against the defending Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers on your home for the Dallas Cowboys all season long. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM. ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
We officially have Texas college football back. In the FCS level, the attacking national champion Sam Houston State Bearcats returned all of their starters from their spring 2021 title run and got their fall season started last night with a 42-16 win on the road against Northern Arizona. The Bearcats starting quarterback Eric Schmidt completed 21 passes on 37 attempts with 3 touchdowns to help Sam Houston to their first win of the season. The University of the Incarnate Word lost a heartbreaker in overtime last night, 44-41, with Youngstown State picking up the win. Cameron Ward had a stellar night behind center for the Cardinals, finishing 28 of 47 for 352 yards and 4 touchdowns passing. Those are your Texas college football headlines. For San Antonio Sports Star, I'm Carl Schoening.
Parents, do you want your child's shoes to fit perfectly? Then you need to get your kids Skechers Stretchfit shoes, because Skechers Stretchfit shoes are so comfortable and so stretchy, they easily slip on and fit almost like a sock. Your child is constantly moving and constantly growing, so they need a shoe that moves with them. And Skechers Stretchfit's soft, stretchable material contours to their busy feet. It's a perfect fit. And not only do they fit like a dream, they perform like one too. Skechers Stretchfit keeps your child's feet comfortable all day long. With Skechers' exclusive air-cooled memory foam and a breathable stretch fit knit, your child will be cool and comfy whether playing, studying, or just hanging out. Plus, you'll love just how durable they are. Stretchfit is designed to take everything your child can throw at them, and if they get dirty, just pop them in the washing machine. It's that easy. Give your kids perfect comfort that adjusts to them with Skechers Stretch Fit shoes. Find them at a Skechers store near you, Skechers.com, or wherever kids' shoes are sold.
O'Reilly. Get more miles on the road with O'Reilly Auto Parts. A clean fuel system means better gas mileage for your car. Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, get 2 bottles of Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner for $8. Plus, earn double O Rewards points. For a clean, lubricated, more fuel-efficient system, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents and Doug.
And we're back with Limu, Emu, and Doug for the final question. Category is things you climb. All right, Limu, what do you think? You sure? We're going with Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need. Oh, so close. We were looking for stairs. Huh. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think of calling for a ride, but nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that could happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
Taco Bell presents a get-out-of-bedtime story. It's time to wake up from this amazing dream, even though you're jet skiing on lemonade. How extreme! And oh, look at that. You just won the lottery. Is that a castle? Take the keys. It's your property. What's better than swimming in space? Just wait for the big reveal. It's Taco Bell breakfast, and it's actually real. So it's time to wake up and bid your dreams farewell. Because toasted breakfast burritos are waiting for you. Only at Taco Bell. At participating Taco Bell locations near you during breakfast hours only.
Hey, it's Rob with my good buddy Jack Overman from Service First AC Repair and Plumbing. Hey, Jack, when someone calls you for plumbing or an AC repair, can you fix it that day?
No sweat.
What if it's in the middle of the night?
No sweat.
Weekends?
No sweat.
Service First AC and Plumbing has put San Antonians first for over 14 years, with trustworthy and reliable technicians on hand 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Service First is standing by to help you when you need them. Hey, Jack, what about free quotes?
No sweat.
And half-off service and free tune-ups?
No sweat. With Service First AC Repair and Plumbing, we don't sweat the small stuff or the big stuff.
Call Service First AC Repair and Plumbing. 210-NO-SWEAT. That's 210-NO-SWEAT. Anything else, Jack?
Thanks for having me, Rob. My team and I would be honored to assist you with all your AC and heating needs. Just give us a call and we'll head right over. 210-NO-SWEAT.
210-NO-SWEAT. That's 210-NO-SWEAT.
License number TACLA 27100C.
Not all pizza places are the same. Mellow Mushroom originated hand-tossed, stone-baked classic Southern pizza. Not in the mood for pizza? Order a calzone, hoagie, sandwich, burger, or a mellow salad and see how care goes into every item on the menu. Take your pick from 24 draft beers and or handcrafted cocktails. And many of the pizzas can be made gluten-free or vegan. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 and Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
Our shoes have more miles on them than your car does. This is San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Hi, it's Jason Minix from The Blitz. You're listening to San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Thank you, Jason. You can catch Jason Minix on The Blitz every day, 4 until ? Usually 7. But
6:30 today.
Is it 6:30 today?
Getting out for high school football.
Oh, right. And he'll be on the call for that one. That'll be a fun one.
The Bougie Bowl.
Yeah, you guys can hear that right here on San Antonio Sports Star, the high school game of the week powered by Hill Electric. James Pudger waking up from his nap. He pulled the mic to his face. I don't know if he wanted to say something. No, he just pushes it away now. Okay, good to see Pledge back there. As we're happy you guys joined us. I'm Carl Schoening. He's Rob Thompson. This is halftime. Edwin running the show when Pledger allows him, I suppose. I tease the Cowboys, and I want to talk Cowboys. Last year, they had a horrid defense.
Worst in history.
Their defense, yes, that's a good way to phrase it. Worst in history. Cowboys history, statistically speaking.
I think it might be, in some categories, literally the worst in history.
Wow.
You could not be any worse than they were last year.
You could put me out on the field, but that's probably about it. Stopping short of putting a non-athlete out there.
I'm telling you, it wouldn't have been worse.
I think I made that tweet one time, actually, as a cynical Eagles fan. The Cowboys last year were obviously trying to figure out a lot of things, and it didn't work out. They end up firing their defensive coordinator, as it's probably fair that you can't put all of the blame on defensive coordinator Mike Nolan. There's a great article on Blogging the Boys. It's really lengthy, so it's a good 7-10 minute read if you're going to check it out. RJ Ochoa will be on the Blitz to probably talk about all things Cowboys, but it's a question based off of statistical future predictions. Will Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch be able to trend back upwards? Because they supposedly hit a peak, and now they're going through a valley. Now, the statistics question, will this valley trend back upwards? Maybe just a little bit, but at the end of the day, these guys are the reason the NFL also stands for not for long.
Yeah, remembering what they were just 2 years ago. Certainly, the injuries are going to play a role in why we're talking about them the way that they are. One, sustained before Jalen was even a pro, dealing with the nerve damage after the terrible knee injury and the comeback from the drop foot and all the things that he had to go through. And then Leighton Vander Esch has just dealt with neck issues that have caused both of them to, their future's in question, and for very different reasons. One, Jalen got paid and hasn't lived up to the money. And two, Leighton can't stay healthy, and the Cowboys decided not to extend him, let him play one more year to see if he can stay healthy. And while they didn't extend him, they went out and drafted 2 speed linebackers and signed a safety that will be playing linebacker as well. I think, the average NFL career is 3 years, 3.1 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Both these guys are NFL football players. Both of them are, if they're healthy and in our system that's appropriate. And you've talked about it. Nolan's defensive scheme did not fit Jalen Smith at all. He seemed to be trailing behind plays, lost in responsibilities. Vander Esch probably had a better year last year, but by Dan Quinn's drafting, these guys are playing for their gig. I would say by the beginning of next season, only one of them will be here, and by the end of next season, I'm not sure either will be here. Sad, but that is a testament not only to the length of time you get in the league, but also to the Dallas Cowboys' ability to, they failed at this. If those guys are both gone after first and a second round pick, Those guys gone after 3 years. That's an utter failure. Most teams can't come back from that. But luckily, some of the later round picks for the Cowboys have held out. Now, if the picks from this year, Micah Parsons looks like a home run. If Jabril Cox can be what we think he's going to be, it'll be a short and interesting story in the long line of Cowboy history. But I don't think Jalen Smith or Leighton Vander Esch will be considered anything other than guys that came and had a cup of coffee in the long run.
Vander Esch has a lot of talent. He has a little bit of Sean Lee in him where he gets injured a little too often. And Jalen Smith is pretty much injuries have slowed him down. He is by no means a slow man, but he might be slow in the NFL. And it's hard to have sideline to sideline speed when it takes you longer to get to the sideline than it does to the running back. So that running back can turn that corner on you. You're cooked as a linebacker, and that's usually the end of your career. Hey, we're going to have a second half of halftime, but call in right now. Fastest Fingers can win tickets to Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. We have a giveaway where you can call in. Pledge will get you hooked up with that. Or if we have Fastest Fingers and you're the first caller, you can choose between the two and get Paradise Canyon First Responder Military Appreciation Day concert giveaways. That's September 11th. The Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings will be anytime you want. That movie comes out today, so hopefully you guys will enjoy either of your wins. So go ahead, give us a call and try and win one of our two packages there. This is halftime. We have Andrew Monaco coming up at the 1 o'clock hour. We have Rob Hipp, the voice of the Sam Houston State Bearcats, coming up in the next hour. Oh, we're going to have so much fun in the 1 o'clock, second half of halftime here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM.
Friday nights mean one thing. San Antonio Sports Stars High School Football Game of the Week. Powered by Hill Electric. Jason Minix and Kevin Brock have the call each week beginning at 7 p.m. from the GPS of Texas broadcast booth. A Friday night Texas tradition.
Tonight, the Churchill Chargers take on the Alamo Heights Mules. 6:30 pregame, 7 o'clock kickoff.
High school football each week from San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
The San Antonio Sports Stars taking halftime on the road, headed to Twin Peaks this Thursday, September the 9th. We'll be covering the things Thursday night football and prepping you for the Cowboys and Buccaneers. And you have a chance to win Pit Bull tickets, Natural Bridge Caverns tickets, and some Sports Star swag. So join us Thursday for lunch, noon to 2 at Twin Peaks on Day Zavala and I-10. That's Thursday, September 9th from noon to 2 at Twin Peaks on Day Zavala and I-10 with the Sports Star and ESPN San Antonio.
Injuries happen, so if you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Dr. Espinosa treats all non-surgical orthopedic injuries and has same-day and next-day availability. Telemedicine services are also available. There is no reason to be in pain. If you are hurting, visit Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Learn more at TSAOG.com. That's TSAOG.com, or schedule your appointment by calling 210-804-5490.
Working from home, you realize you don't have enough outlets or USB ports. Hill Electric can fix that for you. For over 3 decades, the family-owned Hill Electric has served San Antonio homes and businesses. From adding an outlet, fixing that fuse that always blows, or that flickering light, Hill Electric has the right service at the right price, and there is never a service charge and always free estimates. Call Hill Electric at 210-404-9074. That's 404-9074. Or go to hill-electric.com.
Staples Connect has everything for school at amazing prices. Right now, Staples 1-subject notebooks are only 25 cents each, and Crayola 24-count crayons, 2-pocket polyfolders, and 4-ounce Elmer's glue are just 50 cents each. So your student won't just be ready for school, there'll be tons of drawings to hang on the fridge ready.
We're gonna need a bigger refrigerator.
Visit your local Staples store or staples.com/back-to-school and get amazing prices for everything on your back-to-school list. Ends 9/18, limit 30, notebooks in-store only. Offer may vary online.
Blake Stevens with San Antonio-based GPS of Texas. If you have commercial vehicles on the road, you're a target for personal injury lawyers. I mean, you're wearing a bullseye. Our system can protect you if there is an accident with proof of speed, video monitoring, even proof that your driver wasn't on his phone. Don't get hammered. Have real proof that you weren't at fault by installing our GPS camera tracking system. Call GPS of Texas at 210-587-7634 or gpsoftexas.com.
Howdy, San Antonio. Chip Ingram from the Roo Pub and the Angry Elephant, inviting you to come out and enjoy patio season. We have newly remodeled patios, garage doors, and everything else you need to enjoy this great South Texas weather. As always, ice cold beer and specialty drinks. Happy hours daily from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And our kitchen is open from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. See you soon at the Roo Pub and the Angry Elephant at 281 and Redland Road.
Do you have your tickets yet for week 1 of college football? What are you waiting for? You only have a few days left to snag tickets to the Good Sam Texas Kickoff featuring the Texas Tech Red Raiders and the University of Houston Cougars at NRG Stadium on Saturday, September 4th. Kickoff is at 6 p.m. Don't miss your chance to start the 2021 season live in Houston. Get back to tailgating, touchdowns, and cheering on your team with your fellow football fanatics. Reserve your seats today at GoodSamTexasKickoff.com. That's GoodSamTexasKickoff.com.
It's summer. That means grilling season. Jason and Rob here for Tri-County Meat Market. Get into one of their 2 locally owned Tri-County Meat Markets for the best meat for your grill. Tri-County has carefully selected certified prime Angus beef cuts, Wagyu, and upper choice, including their own homegrown Wagyu.
Tri-County has everything you need to up your grilling game, from beef, chicken, pork, fajitas, poppers, and more. Suck up on that 5 for $25 Tri-County Meat Market on Ralph Fair Road over on Heavener or online at tricountymeat.com.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text BAIL to 474747 or online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
This is the home of the Cowboys, Rangers, and Aggie football. KZDC, San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Rob Thompson, Karl Schoening. Halftime.
Half 2 of halftime here on San Antonio Sports Star. Happy y'all spend your midday break with us. Maybe you are like James Pledger and you're in your car right now listening to us on one of our frequencies, AM 1250 or 94.5 FM. Maybe you're at work and you're checking out our Facebook Live YouTube feeds, but the best way to do it is at sasportsr.com, so you can enter to win all of the awesome competitions that we always have going on there. I'm Karl Schoening. He's Rob Thompson. Edwin back running the show. Rob.
This will be a good hour.
Oh, it's going to be a great hour.
Yeah, I'm excited about this.
I know you're most excited about Andrew Monaco joining the show, a great friend of San Antonio and the San Antonio's Sports Star. And
father of a softball stud.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Gina Monaco just tore up Trinity while she was there. She did have that COVID year of eligibility, but as I understand it, we'll have to get a confirmation from Andrew. She decided to graduate and move on to the real world.
Get off the payroll, go to work.
It's a fun SCAC conference. There's a lot of good competition over there that Trinity goes up against. So she had a great career, and Andrew might get a curveball of a softball question a little later. He was not expecting it.
The man knows softball now.
Oh, no, I know he does.
12 years in the game, following that around, I guarantee you the man can answer a softball question.
Yeah, I won't ask him who his favorites are for the SCAC conference tournament this year, though, as I'm pretty sure Gina Monaco is no longer there, but she had a great career as a Trinity Tiger. One of the several great schools that are in the San Antonio area, by the way. I'm learning as I went out to
Texas Cheer
yesterday. There's a Palo Alto College?
No, there is. Texas A&M San Antonio is down by Palo Alto in the Palo Alto area. And then there's part of the San Antonio Community College. There is Palo Alto down there, just a satellite campus.
Okay. Yeah, Texas A&M San Antonio. They're starting up an athletic program. They'll get there eventually.
Fighting Jaguars. We're excited. They're on their way. We'll have a basketball team pretty soon.
Yeah, soon enough. They got to figure out where to play, but I think they're going to be playing in a rec center at some point. We'll have to.
UTSA still is.
Yeah, Darnell Smith is their athletic director. We'll have to see if we can get Darnell Smith on at some point just to tell us what's going on with the Aggie San Antonio school.
Jaguars.
Yeah, the Texas A&M. Yeah, Texas A&M Jaguars.
They're Jaguars. They ain't Aggies.
Texas A&M San Antonio Jaguars.
There you go.
Yeah. TAMSA. That's a long abbreviation out there. And we also have, of course, UTSA. They're taking on Illinois. They're traveling up there either today or yesterday to take on the Fighting Illini.
Take the points. Take the points. Come on, UTSA. UTSA and the points, baby. Let's do it.
It'll be a close game. Yeah, that'll be fun. And, of course, last night, just falling to Youngstown State, the University of the Incarnate Word.
So close.
44-41. Lost by a field goal in overtime.
Had the lead with 37 seconds to go. That's what home field will do for you.
Yeah, and that's really what happened right there. But obviously, a little later, we will talk to the not defending national champions, the attacking national champions, Sam Houston State play-by-play broadcaster for the Bearcats, Rob Hipp.
Big win. Started out strong.
Yep, they were undefeated last year, and they come into this season trying to repeat as national champions. I do have one question for Andrew, and I'm curious to hear what his answer is. Texas A&M is ranked as high as 6th on a lot of boards.
Mm-hmm.
When you lose Kellen Mond, your starting quarterback for 4 years, I always would lean towards we know they're going to be good, but top 10 in the country good? I want to know what makes Texas A&M or what makes voters so confident in Texas A&M.
I have my theories. I can't wait to hear what Andrew has to say. I do think that offensive line was better than people expected last year. They didn't lose a whole lot of those young guys. Got a couple back. That offensive line seems solid. And the defense is going to protect him. The defense is strong. They got 2 top 10 potential draft picks on that defensive side of the ball. DeMarvin Leal, right from San Antonio, in the top 5. Defense will protect him. He's got a great running back behind him. And we know Jimbo's a quarterback whisperer. I think people looked past that, but as the battered Aggie I am, that is the concern as you start with a young quarterback in what's his name? Haynes. I got to get used to. We got a Hudson and we got a Haynes in the new quarterbacks here in the state of Texas. Andrew Monaco is going to join us post-station. You want to give everybody the headlines, or are we going to wait for that?
Headlines.
Let's get everybody caught up as you head back to work. You need to know what's going on in the sporting world, and Carl's got them. Let's get them caught up there.
Carl's Countdown.
I have a quick and easy one for you, Rob, as we wrap up the second half of halftime headlines. Headline 2, Manchester United and give Cristiano Ronaldo his iconic number 7. He'll be wearing 7. That's good news for James Pledger, who has a Manchester United 7 Ronaldo jersey from his first stint there with the team.
What was his previous number in between the 7s?
He's always been 7.
Oh, so he got to carry it from, where was he? Juventus was 7 too as well?
Juventus and Real Madrid in between stints with Manchester United.
Numbers matter. I wonder how much he had to pay for it.
Hey, with how much they paid him, I'm sure that he didn't have to pay anything there. Headline 1, still working on his speech. Derek Jeter wants to visit Hall of Fame with no preconceived notions. As you know, he was supposed to be inducted during COVID, but they pushed that back to this year. He's still working on it, and he's had about 9 extra months to figure that out.
I took that. Has he never been to the Hall of Fame?
No, I don't think so.
It seems like he's never been there, and he doesn't want to go there till he's actually in it. I appreciate that. That would if I lived that way, I'd never see anything.
He doesn't seem like Cooperstown? Yep. He doesn't seem like a Cooperstown just to visit Cooperstown kind of person.
Over a 25, 30-year-old baseball career, from playing to managing and ownership and all this other kind of stuff that he's been involved with, that he wouldn't have at some point at least, showed up for a luncheon. But I appreciate the fact that when you go in, I ain't going till I'm in. I'm down.
And headline 0, Colts quarterback Carson Wentz still unsure on COVID-19 vaccine after being sidelined by close contact. And I guess that means he didn't actually test positive. But just the hassle that it takes to be without being around your team for 7 days, you would think Wentz would catch the hint. And I don't get it. Lamar Jackson was still unsure. He was researching it after contracting it twice, and I hear that it hit him like a bus both times. Mm-hmm. Hey, I would just say get vaccinated, Carson. Don't worry about it. But he obviously has some reservations.
Yeah, grow a pair, man. You have the American right, the privilege of saying, I ain't going to take it. That's fine. You can stand up and say, I am not going to take it, or you can say, I'm not going to talk about it. But don't go, I'm not sure yet. What else are you waiting on? I don't know what else that people go, well, I'm still waiting. You just say you're not going to take it. that's fine, or don't say anything at all. But I want my quarterback, the leader of men, to be decisive. Tell me what you're going to do. Tell me who you are, and do and be that. Don't be wishy-washy. You got to take over this Colt team.
And if you're someone who will talk about it publicly, I kind of want to know what your reservations are so we can actually have a dialogue as opposed to these vague things. Because there have been, I don't know if you've seen it on social media, Rob, but there have been rumors going around that you and me, the vaccinated types, are going to become zombies.
Well, if we do, I'm going to be a fast one. I'm going to be a Generation Z zombie as opposed to a Walking Dead zombie. I'm fast.
I wouldn't want to be a Walking Dead zombie. That doesn't seem fun. It's a short life.
Stagger around and take a knife to the head. No, I want to be the guy chasing you down the hall, not walking.
Yeah, those are the zombies that we're not turning into zombies, people. Come on now.
If you do, you won't know it.
I wonder. I've always wondered about that. Does consciousness continue?
That is a deep thought there. That was Karl's update. Let's talk some Aggie football, man.
Edwin is working the dials right now, trying to get Andrew on the phone line, but they take on the Kent State Golden Flashes.
You brought up something as we chase Andrew Monaco. It is odd that A&M is ranked 6th and is starting a rookie quarterback, a young quarterback, not a freshman quarterback, a guy that's been around the program for a bit. To step into this situation and be the 6th ranked team in the country, not only do you need to be special mentally, you got to be special mentally. You're leading guys older than you. You're leading into the breach. You're leading into the gauntlet. But you also have to be in a situation to deal with that kind of pressure. And sometimes that's the separator. And we didn't know who the starter was going to be. Even when we spoke with Andrew Monaco last year, we didn't know. And up until very recently, I was still surprised to see the end. I'm going to be curious to find out what the separation is.
No one's going to be able to tell us more about Haynes King than the man, the myth, the legend, the voice of your fighting Texas Aggies. Joining us right now on the Kielbasa Bacon phone lines, Andrew Monaco. Andrew, thank you so much for taking the time.
It's mostly myth, by the way, in that little list. It's mostly myth, but please keep it running. Howdy, guys.
Howdy. Hey, yeah, I forgot. We got to say howdy when we introduce people.
Absolutely, you got to say howdy.
That's how I picked up howdy.
Rob, teach him. Rob,
I'm doing my best. One of the great things about Karl is he wears a lot of maroon. Now, it's got the wrong logo on it most of the time, but he wears a lot of Texas State maroon. Andrew Monaco, the voice of them fighting Texas Aggies right here on Halftime. Okay, Andrew, as we look toward Kent, and, Kent is Kent, the decision to start Haynes over Calzada, what was the deciding factor as you have seen as we went through the summer?
Oh, that's a good question because, Rob, they both elevated each other's game throughout camp. It was really fascinating. And, Zach actually has another year here, had an extra year. I think they both learned from Kellen. I think it's how do you master this offense mentally? How do you make your decisions? How does everybody else play for you? How do you react to Jimbo standing behind you and question? The question is always why. The question is why, not just when you throw the ball to the wrong receiver or an incomplete. The question is, why did that play work? You're always answering why. Slight separation is all it is. I think Haynes, being the son of a coach, John King at Longview, I think being able to win. I think winners win at every level. They have what it takes. But I'm telling you, if they had to put Zach Calzada in the second snaps, they would be just fine and just comfortable. I think it was that. This is Kellen Mond and Nick Starkel all over again. I really believe that. Jimbo says the team picture starter. I think they would play for both these guys. The separation might be a little bit of that winning attitude that Haynes King has always carried in being a coach's son.
Andrew Monaco joins us right now on the Kielbasa Bacon phone lines and Halftime. Andrew, there are certain rankings that would have the Aggies around top 10. In 6th is the highest I've seen them. And usually when you lose a 4-year starter like Kellen Mond, that's maybe not the first thought process for voters. But what is it that makes these fighting Aggies rank so high in these preseason rankings?
I think it's the way they finished, the 8-game winning streak to finish, and I think how they won that Orange Bowl last year over a very good North Carolina team who was probably a year away, North Carolina. Look, the questions are there. You guys both know that, you know what, Alabama's starting a brand new quarterback. It hasn't affected their rating. But what's different for Alabama, they've done this before. They've replaced quarterbacks, replaced them successfully. They have replaced guys who have been drafted with equal talent. That is what we've seen after a decade of Nick Saban at Alabama. We have not seen Texas A&M do this yet under Jimbo Fisher. We see signs of it, but now it's a chance for them to prove they belong on this level. They belong in that championship contending position. But the questions are, how's Haynes going to play when the lights are brightest? How's this offensive line going to play? We don't know. We know the names. We know that these guys have gotten SEC snaps, but they've not played together. So those questions are fair. But I also think the 6 is fair because you saw an 8-game winning streak, all against SEC teams, 7, and 1 against a very good ACC team. And to me, can they continue what they did? The reason why they played so well on Saturday is the way they prepared Monday through Friday. Now, the other question is, who becomes the next Buddy Johnson? Who becomes the next Kellen Mond? Not from yards and tackles, that leadership. And what makes me so excited on that defensive end, 9 of the 11 starters and a number of those 5th years coming back who I think assume that mantle of leadership as well.
Andrew Monaco, the voice of the Texas Aggies here on Halftime, San Antonio Sports Star. Did the quality of the defense and the returning players, and certainly 2 of the top draft picks coming out, DeMarvin Leal, certainly San Antonio's own, listed as a top 10 pick, maybe in the top 5 by the time the season is done. Does that strength of defense make it a bit easier to start a young quarterback because you feel like, you know, worst case scenario, we're always going to be in it?
I think there's a lot to that, Rob. I really do. Okay, so it's a 3 and out. Okay, let's get the ball back into their hands. As you say that, that's exactly what happened last year too, even with Kellen starting his 4th season. That happened as well, and I think that's special. For as much as we love to talk about a Jimbo Fisher offense, let's talk about a Mike Elko defense now for the 4th year. And a lot of these guys really understanding and really buying in to what Mike Elko has done and to have impact guys returning. But I'm with you. I think that's, you know, it's funny. Jimbo mentioned this, that on some football teams, you have the offense versus the defense, and they kind of point fingers. That's never been the case here at Texas A&M under Jimbo. They're all one. And conversely, with the offense is going to score, the defense still wants the 3 and out. As Jimbo calls it, stacking. Can you stack the good plays? Can you stack the possessions one after another like that? But, I mean, it's exciting to see what number 8 is going to do on that defensive side. It's exciting to see what a Damani Richardson's going to do on the back end. Hey, I'm excited to see Aaron Hansford, who decided to come back. I did not know this about Aaron until Jimbo said on coaches' nights in the spring, he was invited to the Senior Bowl. You get an invite from NFL teams. You don't get an invite from your college coach. That's how much they thought about him. But for him to come back, and he still feels like he has to prove. Remember, he played offense, defense, kind of solidified himself as a starting linebacker. I'm excited to see those guys, and I think it will help. Rob, also, this was a defense that carried them to victories last year, or also helped seal the victory. When the offense wasn't going well against LSU, that defense was dynamite, locked down LSU until they scored late. They almost pitched a shutout on the road at South Carolina. That's almost unheard of in the SEC. Then the Auburn wins, the Orange Bowl win. That defense dominated in the 4th quarter, allowed the offense to score enough points. That's what I'm excited. Them coming back, and I think it certainly helps a young quarterback or an offense that is still learning to play with one another.
Andrew Monaco joins us here on Halftime, and he is the voice of your Fighting Aggies. And if you have never been to Kyle Field for a football game, you are missing out. Now, I don't remember what all happened last year with the COVID restrictions that limited capacity, but it seems like the Aggies are back to 100% capacity, if I'm not mistaken. And it's going to be really cool as ahead of the anniversary for 9/11, it seems like the university is going to try and recreate the red, white, and blue game. So, Andrew, if you could just touch on the atmosphere there at Kyle Field and the traditions that they carry on with their fans and what that means and why people should experience it firsthand.
And Karl, there will be at least 38,000 students here. The ticket pull this week started on Monday, continues to today for the fish, as Rob knows. And if I can tell the freshmen anything, hydrate,
and find a senior to pull for you. One or the other.
That's exactly right. There is so much anticipation, Karl, from 20 years. It's not to the day, but we're going to celebrate the 20 years of standing for America. After 9/11 in 2001, it was organic. It was student-led. They sold 70,000 tickets, raised almost $200,000 for the heroes of 9/11. And that was the red, white, and blue game. And once again, this Saturday, tomorrow, it's going to be blue on the lower bowl, white in the middle, and red up top. That is the 20th anniversary of that. It's the 100th anniversary. It's the centennial, the 12th man that we'll be celebrating all season long. And it's also that return to 100%. I always said this, give me 25% at Kyle Field. Look, Dan Mullen at Florida thought there was 100,000 there anyway. Last year, he might be able to hear this crowd going all the way back to Gainesville. They're going to be so loud. I think it's that anticipation of being able to be together, to watch the Aggies, the excitement of what they're coming. As you know, the students will always stand. I believe it will all begin tonight at Midnight Yell. I think it's going to be the largest Midnight Yell that they've ever had. And it just between that, getting back to tailgating, getting back to being on campus, getting back to complaining about traffic, which is a good thing, right? This is a good thing. And then I think just that experience, like I'm really waiting. My partner, Dave Elmendorf, used to always keep punching me and telling me, can you feel the stadium sway? Can you feel it sway? I have a feeling it's going to sway when that team runs out tonight, just prior to 7 o'clock. And tomorrow night, just prior to that kickoff against Kent State, because I think there's a lot of pent up emotion for all of this. Then that combination to do this in the 20th anniversary of the red, white, and blue out is adding to something special. To see this field decorated the way it is, Texas A&M in the end zones, red, white, and blue, the block TAM in the middle, the 100 years logo is also going to be there for the 12th man. I mean, a lot of things of adding up to what will be, I think, a very special atmosphere tomorrow night.
Andrew, do you pinch yourself? Do you pinch yourself that this is happening? We have finally made it this season, and 100% there. You're talking about the atmosphere, you guys. Goosebumps right now. Goosebumps for what's coming.
All the time, Rob. All the time. I do, because you know what? We did so much adjusting. But there's a different appreciation from last year, September 26th, playing Vanderbilt. And that appreciation was for the student athletes taking 3 and 4 COVID tests a week and keeping themselves safe. This is that return. See, everybody was kind of waiting. They'll say, you know what, we'll do this for a year. There had to be that light at the end of the tunnel. And this is that light at the end of the tunnel. And it's going to be a different appreciation. It's going to be wonderful to see. I can't wait to hear Patton's horns. I cannot wait to hear that. That gets me giddy. You know what? I love that. The flyover is going to be Apache helicopter. All of that. I think we learn to appreciate it even more. That, you pinch yourself, and I still get goosebumps, my friend.
Andrew Monaco, those velvet tones, Dave Elmendorf, football tomorrow, kick at 7. It'll be here on KTSA, our brother station. We are your home for the Fighting Texas Aggies all season long. Before we let you go, I want to ask you kind of a trick question. We've talked a lot about young Haynes King, and I've heard some, and I don't even like bringing it up, but I've heard some comparisons to Johnny, one of those winners who's just going to do things in a way that is not only exciting, but gets the wins at the end of the day. Now, he's going to be the focal point of attention. Is the most important player on that offense, though, is it Jalen Weidermeyer?
Oh, God, I think he might be his best friend.
Yes.
You know how many times Kellen hit Jalen for first downs last year and third down that receiver? At times he's unguardable. Rob, if you remember 2 years ago as a freshman, the catch and run against Mississippi State at Kyle Field. My partner, Dave Elmendorf, who is not one for hyperbole, said a star is born.
Yep.
And I looked at him. And during the break, I said, I'm really surprised you said that. He said, Andrew, I had to guard tight ends like that skill set, that size in the NFL. He's just a freshman. That's what's and you know, who are you going to put on him? A nickel? A linebacker?
Right.
That's the thing. I think he very much becomes his best friend, and because as well as being able to hand it off to Isaiah Spiller, Devon A-Chain, and Anaya Smith, I think will keep it. But the analogy is there. When he gets out of the pocket, Leon O'Neal was saying he's hard to catch. He might be the fastest guy on this team, but he also has a pocket presence.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I think, the discipline of playing under a Jimbo Fisher, that discipline to stay in the pocket, go through the progression. Then if you run, look out defense, because he's going to be very hard. Look, Alabama learned that, and he was just a true freshman. South Carolina found that out in that game. This Mike Elko defense has found it out every day during practice as well.
He's Andrew Monaco, and that was a great segment about the Fighting Texas Aggies. Can't wait for the season to get going. Tomorrow they take on Kent State, and that is a game that can be heard on KTSA. I know Rob Thompson enjoyed that segment. I thoroughly enjoyed it as well. Thank you so much for taking the time, Andrew.
Absolute pleasure, my friends. Thank you.
Andrew Monaco, the voice of the Fighting Texas Aggies, right here on San Antonio Sports Star. But we ain't done. We're still talking football to someone affiliated with a national champion, the only national champions in the state of Texas last year.
Yep, that's right. Rob Hipp will be joining us, the voice of the Sam Houston State Bearcats. They come off of a win last night against Northern Arizona. Rob will give us the skinny on his team when we come back here on halftime. This is San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM.
As we sit here getting ready for big games are made better by big plays. And if you're not playing, you're not doing it right. And I only recommend one sports book, and that is BetUS, betus.com. They've been around for 25 years. Longevity, it does, in fact, matters. Because BetUS has been around so long, that longevity proves integrity. You need to know that you're going to get paid, and I can tell you firsthand, they pay you timely and appropriately. You need a sports book that offers everything, including live betting, MMA, golf, horses, esports, and all those great prop bets. It is easy to join. I don't care if you're with another service. Jump in right now because there are bonuses to be had. 1-800-79-BET-US. Dial 1-800-79-BET-US. Warren Sapp says you'll get it done faster than you can run a 40, and I believe that. And when you do get yourself signed up, remember these letters, KZDC. That is us, KZDC. You mentioned those letters. There is stuff to be had. 200% in bonuses up to on your first deposit. Let me tell you, I have the experience in this. Nobody beats that. I bet at BetUS. You should too. Join BetUS.com today, right now. Start betting today, right now at America's favorite sportsbook. That is BetUS.com, where the games begin.
Get the latest scores from all varsity sports and all the schools in the 210 anytime at 210varsity.com. Sponsored by the San Antonio Express News. While you're at the game on Friday nights, upload photos and videos to your school's page.
No way.
Plus, check out game schedules and more. 210varsity.com. From the Express News and San Antonio Sports Star. ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Hey, San Antonio Sports Star listeners, this is Michael Kielbasa with Kielbasa Smoked Meats. Thanks to fans like you, you can now buy Kielbasa products just about everywhere. We hope you continue to enjoy our handcrafted, small batch smoked meats because we sure enjoy making them for you. So grab some today and let me know what you think. My number's on the back of every pack. Right by my promise that if it's not the best you've ever tasted, I'll give you your money back. Find Kielbasa at a store near you today.
1911 Cigars is the premier cigar lounge in South Texas, providing quality, affordable cigars in a professional, inviting environment with a large covered patio with TVs. A BYOB establishment, 1911 Cigars strives to allow the avid cigar connoisseur a comfortable place to relax, socialize, network, and of course enjoy a great cigar. 1911 Cigars is available for private events and has private cabanas with TVs, fire pits, and heaters. 1911 Cigars at 207 South Main Street in Cibolo. Online at 1911cigars.com.
Your source to local news and sports in San Antonio begins with the San Antonio Express News. We've collected, written, and shown the stories that matter most to San Antonio. Look no further than the San Antonio Express News to continue to provide information and strength to the community. Whether it's on the field or on a court, we provide the ground local coverage. Go to expressnews.com for the most up-to-date high school and college sports coverage. Subscribe today at expressnews.com.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish
is pretty bad. So we're using Babbel.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said, now we speak Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
Vaccines are not enough, and accurate thermometers are essential for everyone. COVID is once again a major concern, and fever is the key symptom for both the flu and COVID. An accurate thermometer, like the Exergen temporal scanner, is essential to detect fevers early and reliably. Studies have shown that non-contact thermometers are ineffective and therefore dangerous, as they create a false sense of security. Exergen is working with a single focus to ensure that everyone who needs an accurate thermometer can purchase one. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Hey, it's Rob with my good buddy Jack Overman from Service First AC Repair and Plumbing. Hey, Jack, when someone calls you for plumbing or an AC repair, can you fix it that day?
No sweat. With Service First AC Repair and Plumbing, we don't sweat the small stuff or the big stuff.
210 no sweat.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Have you started developing COVID-19 symptoms, or have you tested positive within the last 5 days? Local doctors are now enrolling volunteers for a COVID-19 clinical study. This study is for those who have had a positive COVID-19 test within the last 5 days and have health conditions putting them at increased risk for severe illness. Every person who volunteers for a clinical trial plays a powerful role. Go to covidpillstudy.com to learn about the clinical research process. You can be part of developing a potential COVID-19 oral treatment that may bring hope for moving beyond COVID-19. Participants will receive all study-related care and either a placebo or an investigational drug for COVID-19. If you are 18 years of age or older, have COVID-19 symptoms, or tested positive for COVID-19 within the last 5 days, go to covidpillstudy.com and answer a few simple questions to see if you may qualify for this study. Please consider participating in this COVID-19 oral treatment study by visiting covidpillstudy.com. Volunteer today at covidpillstudy.com.
Giving you an excuse for a long lunch break. It's halftime with Rob Thompson and Karl Schoening on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It's halftime. Thanks for spending your midday break with us. I'm Karl Schoening. He's Rob Thompson. Edwin running the board. And my worlds are converging right now. For months, I have had to explain to people that when I talk to them personally that know me well, which Rob I'm talking about when I say Rob without saying Thompson or Hipp. Joining us on the Kielbasa Bacon phone lines right now is Rob Hipp, the voice of the Sam Houston State Bearcats, one of my best friends. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Did you get some sleep after that crazy night of Sam Houston State defeating Northern Arizona?
Oh, man, Karl, my brother, it's so good to talk to you, man. I actually just woke up probably about 20 minutes ago, man. We got in last night at 6:30 here in Huntsville, so it was a long trip. But a Bearcat victory, I'll take a long trip and a Bearcat victory any day, man.
Rob, as they step in the attack, not defense of a national title, taking down Northern Arizona, won every quarter going away. Was it everything that was expected from Keeler's team? Was there anything that you saw was missing or changed from last year? What exactly did you come away from with what looked to be a pretty easy win?
Well, I mean, one, we got some work to do. It was the first game of the season. I was really impressed in our guys because a lot of times that first game of the season, you got a lot of penalties and those things. Our guys didn't really have a lot of penalties through the first three quarters. I think it was as expected. In fact, I told my analyst, Brian Adams, I said, I bet the score's going to – I don't predict scores, but he and I do just kind of jokingly at the hotel room the night before. He goes, what do you think, man? I said 42-21. Well, it was 42-16. So, I would have won a little bit of cash. We would have put something on that. But, one of the biggest things this season, and it's really exciting, is I talk a lot about culture. And our coach, Casey Keeler, has built such a tremendous culture at Sam Houston. It's helped put our school on the map, especially here in the Lone Star State and over in East Texas. But the culture has been amazing. And it also helps a lot whenever you've got pretty much every single guy back on both sides. And I'm talking offense and defense. And we're also talking too deep. I mean, the team is very deep. We've got all of our guys returning. We only lost a couple. And I think we're set up for another really good season in the FCS.
And this is the first season officially in the WAC as Sam Houston State joins, I think, the couple other teams in the Southland moving into that WAC, and maybe eventually a chance to go to a bowl division, the FBS, at a certain point in time. What do you get when you transfer over from a Southland schedule to a Western Athletic Conference schedule?
One, I think just new momentum. We were in the Southland for so long, and for us, it's just new momentum. The WAC has brought football back for the first time, Carl, since 2012, and so it's exciting for the conference. But even more so, we've brought some of our familiar Southland friends. You mentioned that. One of them is Lamar. I've always enjoyed the friends at Lamar that we've made over the years. We lost some people that we used to play with at San Antonio to Incarnate Word down there where you guys are at, so I'm going to miss that. A little bit of a rivalry, if you will. Not too much, but I think going into the WAC, just the new momentum, and then also the WAC is now in college football the conference with the most Texas team. I believe there's 5 Texas teams in the WAC, so that's something that's really exciting as well. On the football side, we don't really have to bounce around too much. We're still going to have some travel, of course. On the basketball side, this year the university is wanting me to cover pretty much every basketball game. I looked at the schedule, and we're going all over the place. So on the basketball side, we have a lot more travel. But as far as football goes, playing a lot of teams in state, and just a good opportunity to ride that momentum that's coming with the WAC.
Rob Hipp joining us here on The Star. He is the voice of the Sam Houston State national champions as they join a new conference and start out in fine style. Looking at the stats, Rob, I'm looking like the run game worked quite well. The preseason running back, all WAC conference offered everything that you could. Was that more about a first game, or is this going to be the offense that we're going to see all season long with him being the bell cow?
Oh, I think one of the last season we go back, we were one of the top rushing offenses in the nation. Our defense is really good against the rush. We don't allow more than 100 yards a game, hardly at all. Last night, I think our defense held them to 80. But on the offensive side of the things, we got a guy named Ramon Jefferson. We've nicknamed him Ramon. Come on, Jefferson, because this kid, when he gets out there and runs, you never know what he's going to do. He had a couple of big plays in this one, over 100 yards, and that's typical now for Sam Houston and the way that Keeler runs the offense. So I think you're going to see a lot of that. And then we've got the Southland Conference Player of the Year quarterback last year, and Eric Schmidt. This young man is continuing to grow and develop. He's only a junior, so he's got a lot more time to grow. And we've got a fairly young squad as well. So that's what's really exciting about all this. So I think with the punch of Eric Schmidt at quarterback, he's very mobile. He can move around. He's got a lot of weapons, and Jaquez Ezzard, who's a receiver, Ife Adey, Cody Crest. This is a young man who's really came on last year, and he saw a lot of action last night. So you've got those kind of weapons. That helps open up the run game. So everybody has their eyes on Jaquez Ezzard. And whenever they've got their eyes on him, you've got to make sure you've got a solid running game, and that's what we've seen early on, and that's what we saw last year.
Rob Hipp, voice of the Sam Houston State Bearcats, joining us here on Halftime. And Rob, you brought this up earlier, and we brought it up as well, but I want to ask you specifically about it. Coach Keeler has implemented a culture, and part of that culture is obviously what you say to your student athletes. They are not the defending national champions. They are the attacking national champions. What plays into that?
Well, I was talking to Coach about that, and he said, we're not really defending a championship. We've already won the championship. We need to go out and attack for another championship. And so I think it just creates this whole new idea that, hey, we're fighting for another one. We're not defending. That's already been done. That's already history. We don't need to defend that. We need to go out and attack for a new one. And so that's just really put that mantra with the team. And I like it. At first I didn't really understand what it meant after I talked to Coach Keeler and his idea of you're not really defending, you're attacking. I said, that makes a lot of sense. So I like how he's going with this. And the whole kids, the entire team, the staff, they've all bought into it.
Rob Hipp joining us. The Sam Houston State Bearcats return to Huntsville on the 11th next Saturday, taking on Southeast Missouri State. Anything for the team? Are they going to get any kind of award? Is there going to be a reason to be there other than the opening game to see the kids get the trophy or the ring or whatever happens?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know any of that information yet as far as ring presentation. I know that there was some talk about them actually supposedly getting it a little bit earlier. So I'm not 100% sure on how that's going to work. I do know, it's a very somber day, of course, the 20th anniversary of 9/11. And I know that the university is going to be honoring first responders. We're going to have a special presentation on our radio call and also in the booth. So as far as that goes, I think it's going to be focused on our first responders.
Wonderful. Bowers Field's a special place. It's going to be a fun time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Rob Hipp, we appreciate you taking the time joining us, even though you were up for 24 hours straight. So we're happy that you found the time in your nap that you slotted out as you got back to Huntsville safely last night. We appreciate you being on the show.
Hey, Carl, I appreciate you and all the great work you guys are doing in San Antonio. And hey, by the way, I've got a football game I got to get ready for, a high school football game here in a few hours. So you know how the journey is, Carl. So we're just going to keep rocking and rolling, man.
Hey, good luck. Have a good call with the Hornets.
Thanks. God bless you guys. Have a good day.
Rob Hipp right here on the Star, voice of the Sam Houston State Bearcats. And who are the Hornets? What game is it?
Huntsville Hornets.
The Huntsville Hornets. I didn't know that. I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. That's that he double duties when he can. He does Sam Houston State primarily, but he'll also join in with some Huntsville Hornets action. He's brought all the live streaming and broadcast down there. They obviously still did it on KSAM well before he got there, but he also has brought video streams and such to Sam Houston State. So he's a big part of the community down there, and we appreciate Rob Hipp for joining us here on Halftime. We're going to put a bow on it. Here it is almost full-time on halftime. The second half almost wrapping up. This is San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Saturday afternoons mean one thing: college football. Oh my God! Hear games from all Power 5 conferences all season long, every Saturday from San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM. ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
We officially have Texas college football back. In the FCS level, the attacking national champion Sam Houston State Bearcats returned all of their starters from their spring 2021 title run and got their fall season started last night with a 42-16 win on the road against Northern Arizona. The Bearcats starting quarterback Eric Schmidt completed 21 passes on 37 attempts with 3 touchdowns to help Sam Houston to their first win of the season. The University of the Incarnate Word lost a heartbreaker in overtime last night, 44-41, with Youngstown State picking up the win. Cameron Ward had a stellar night behind center for the Cardinals, finishing 28 of 47 for 352 yards and 4 touchdowns passing. Those are your Texas college football headlines. For San Antonio Sports Star, I'm Carl Schoening.
Central Builders Incorporated is a family-owned, award-winning general contractor headquartered in San Antonio. Since 1989, CBI has completed over $1 billion in construction projects, including large-scale remodeling, expansions, and ground-up construction. The award-winning CBI has also been recognized by the San Antonio Business Journal as one of the best places to work for the past 4 years, and Central Builders is hiring. Learn more at centralbuilders.net. That's centralbuilders.net.
Vaccines are not enough, and accurate thermometers are essential for everyone. COVID is once again a major concern, and fever is the key symptom for both the flu and COVID. An accurate thermometer, like the Exergen temporal scanner, is essential to detect fevers early and reliably. Studies have shown that non-contact thermometers are ineffective and therefore dangerous, as they create a false sense of security. Exergen is working with a single focus to ensure that everyone who needs an accurate thermometer can purchase one. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Pro football season's here, and pro roofers save valuable time with Beacon Pro Plus. Beacon Pro Plus works 24/7 for material ordering, order history, and automated promotion tracking, so you can get your favorite GAF roofing products even when working remotely. And now, order on Beacon Pro Plus and get a $175 gift card and a chance for a VIP pro football getaway. Gear up and raise your game with Beacon Pro Plus today. Build, score, and win at BECN.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts is here to keep your car on the road with the right parts, advice from our parts professionals, and our free loaner tool program. Your local store has more than 80 specialty tools available for your next repair. Refundable deposit required. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and ask about our free loaner tool program, or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Not all pizza places are the same. Mellow Mushroom originated hand-tossed, stone-baked classic Southern pizza. Not in the mood for pizza? Order a calzone, hoagie, sandwich, burger, or a mellow salad and see how care goes into every item on the menu. Take your pick from 24 draft beers and or handcrafted cocktails. And many of the pizzas can be made gluten-free or vegan. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
El Wedo's Automotive Paint provides quality coatings and selection of paint supplies for your automotive finishing needs. El Wedo can match any color for that specific work you're doing. And if you own a car painting or body shop business, you have to compare prices with El Wedo's paint supply to start saving today. Come check us out at El Wedo's Automotive Paint for quality coatings and a great selection of auto painting needs. Located at 3108 West Avenue. Call us at 210-749-3116. 210-749-3116. Check us out on Facebook or Google at El Wedo's Automotive Paint.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747 or online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
You can talk keto all you want, but if you don't have a team of great tasting snacks behind you, you're not going to win the diet marathon. Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds have these big, bold flavors that kick your taste buds into high gear. Korean kimchi barbecue, pasilla chili cheese, spicy dill and more. Eat them right out of the bag or try them in your favorite recipes. You'll love this snack. Visit your local HEB and southernrecipesmallbatch.com to see the power of the rinds.
Southern Recipe pork rinds.
Do you have your tickets yet for week 1 of college football? What are you waiting for? You only have a few days left to snag tickets to the Good Sam Texas Kickoff featuring the Texas Tech Red Raiders and the University of Houston Cougars at NRG Stadium on Saturday, September 4th. Kickoff is at 6 p.m. Don't miss your chance to start the 2021 season live in Houston. Get back to tailgating, touchdowns, and cheering on your team with your fellow football fanatics. Reserve your seats today at GoodSamTexasKickoff.com. That's GoodSamTexasKickoff.com.
We've got your free tickets to see every Dallas Cowboys home game all season long. Register to win now at sasportstar.com. Cheer on America's team on your home for Cowboys football. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Opinions. We got them. Keep them coming. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Halftime wrapping up here. We want to send you on to your 3-day weekend, get you through that 2 o'clock hour, maybe a little energy drink before the blitz. We got Kellerman coming up next, and it won't be too long until Kellerman's in the morning.
Kellerman, I don't know. I don't think is still doing a show. He might still be, but on the 27th, he will move to the mornings, join Keyshawn and Jay Will. We will adjust our programming appropriately ahead of that. I hope you're an SEC fan. We'll just leave it at that. It'll hit us next Monday.
I'm Carl Schoening. He's Rob Thompson. He makes the decisions around here. Edwin, he's the one who decides whether or not we're on the air. Twitter is Edwin, but you can hit me up on Twitter at Carl ESPN. He's at Rob Thompson ESPN. And this is a weekend finally chock full of sports. We are going to have a probably wall to wall whenever you wake up. English Premier League on Saturday is going to start things off, and then the real football comes in sometime around 11. You'll see games getting rolling. You have your wide choices of what you want to watch.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Rob, I know you're an Aggie, so aside from the obvious, what's a game that piques your interest?
Well, the Georgia-Clemson game, obviously. When you look at the numbers and what's involved with this Georgia-Clemson game, it is unlike anything that we have ever had as a college football fans, because this, as it sits today, now certainly records will change and important games will pop up that we did not expect, is the most important game that is scheduled so far to be played to have an out that will have a direct effect on who will make the college football playoff, the Final Four. Both have a great football teams. Both, if they lose, either one has plenty of time to come back. But Georgia-Clemson is a game to start the season, a pregame matchup quality, and this is according to ESPN Football's Power Index, is at 98.2, the highest of any game this season. It's on the first weekend. Now, earlier on R&R, Rudy said, man, I hate that. Why don't they get a preseason game to get things going? I hate that. I don't. I think let's start things out right. You know, you're looking at the Big Ten. They're playing. They stepped into the season playing conference games. This isn't a conference game, but you get the feeling the winner, especially if Georgia can squeak through and get this win coming through the East, might be a skate. It might be an easy slide in to the Final Four if Kirby Smart can get his Georgia team to finally win a big one.
That's the only matchup between two top 10 teams. Edwin, who do you got?
LSU, UCLA.
Ooh, that'll be a fun one. I am personally looking forward to right at 11 when things kick off, another top 25 matchup, Penn State versus Wisconsin. That'll be in Madison, and I got the Badgers winning that one. That should be fun. We talked about it on the college pick'em. Oh, that's wrapping it up as you hear the sound from the Yin Yang twins finishing everything up. I'm Carl Schoening. He's Rob Thompson. Edwin is here. Enjoy your 3-day weekend. No halftime on Monday. No R&R on Monday. No blitz on Monday, unless Jason's crazy.
He will be he'll be rested and recreating like everybody else. We'll see you Tuesday.
All righty. Y'all have a good weekend. This has been Halftime here on San Antonio Sports Star. Hey, don't forget, you guys can win tickets to the Paradise Canyon First Responders if you call in now.
San Antonio Sports Star Pro Football Pick'em. Online at sasportstar.com. Can you pick the perfect matchups all season long? If so, you could win $50,000. Weekly winners score gift cards to Pinkerton's Barbecue in the Mellow Mushroom. For official